So Myles Turner is a pretty interesting player for the Pacers as he's been a pretty above average but also a very injury prone player. He's one of, if not the best versatile big we've seen in this league. Well, probably right now, I'm not talking about history, but his ability to not only stretch the floor, playing great offense, but also be a pretty great shot blocker, one of the best in the league right now, and a great interior defender is pretty valuable in this league. And I think a ton of teams would be pretty interested in a Myles Turner trade. And today we're going to break it down talking about why Myles Turner could be traded pretty soon and what a trade package would look like. And I think Turner on most teams, especially contenders, would be a pretty great fit. So we're going to go over Myles Turner, talk about if he's going to be traded, and what his situation is going to be looking like moving forward. So what's up? My name is Pacers Empire. If you like the video, drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. And let's get into the video. So we'll start off with Myles Turner stats, and they are pretty average. I mean, he averaged around 13 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist. Also adding in 2.8 blocks, which was a league high. I think the closest person was Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Grizzlies, and that alone, that's a pretty great feat. He was around 0.5 more than Jaren Jackson Jr. So his efficiency is also something to note as he shot around 51% from the field and 33% from 3. And his floor stretching ability allows the offense to open up more for players like Halliburton and Duarte to drive into the lane. And his defensive ability is what the Pacers definitely need right now. I mean, Turner, this season alone, only played 42 games, which isn't all too much. And majority of the games were missed because of an injury. And that alone definitely makes his trade value a little bit lower. But nonetheless, I mean, he is a good player. Someone that can give you some good floor stretching ability at the 5. You can even slot him at the 4 if you wanted to, and he plays some great interior defense, nothing too amazing. He is around 6'11", 250 pounds, so his body frame allows him to be a pretty great defender in the interior, and I think he's going to have some pretty high trade value in the trade market in the offseason, and I think some contenders like the Warriors, the Suns, the Mavericks, all these good contending teams, I think they're going to be a team calling the Pacers to see what they would like, and I think a trade surrounding a young player and a couple of picks would be pretty suitable. But Turner is only around 26 years old, so I think a young player in exchange for a 26-year-old and a couple of picks would be a little bit too much. Maybe a young player and like 1 second-round pick, 2 second-round picks, or maybe a pretty average young player and maybe a late first-round pick or a protected first-round pick around there. I'm not sure what a legit trade package would look like because I think a lot of teams would develop a trade package different than what I envision. I mean, taking the Lakers, for example, I mean, they would have THT, probably Russell Westbrook, in exchange for, I don't even know, like Buddy Hield and Turner and like a couple of picks, or even, I'm not too sure. I mean, the Lakers are pretty interesting. I mean, they already have Anthony Davis, but the center position is still pretty much vacant at that because Davis, he's more of a 4. Look at the Mavs. I mean, the Mavs are pretty much missing that piece at the center position. Dwight Powell, as great as he isn't all that great on offense. Looking at last game against the Utah Jazz, that pretty much speaks for itself. So adding in Myles Turner alongside Luka and Jalen Brunson, I think that would be a pretty great fit. Look at the Suns. I mean, they didn't offer DeAndre Ayton a contract extension. So adding in Myles Turner, who can be a good stretch 5 while also playing some good defense, would be a pretty great fit alongside Chris Paul and Devin Booker. And, the Warriors too, Klay Thompson, Steph, and Jordan Poole already being great 3-point shooters. Adding in alongside Myles Turner would also be a pretty interesting fit. And I think with him, the Warriors definitely move on to the finals because I think that's going to be a pretty scary team. So Turner, he should have a lot of trade value. I just don't really think that teams are going to be offering amazing packages. I mean, looking at some other trade packages around the league, and that's what Sabonis is getting traded for, Halliburton and Buddy Hield. I mean, we could probably get a similar package to that because I think Turner and Sabonis, I wouldn't say they're similar in play styles, but I think they are kind of on the same level. I think Sabonis is a little bit better than Myles Turner, being a great offensive player and all-around better player than Myles Turner. I mean, his playmaking ability, obviously, his rebounding ability, but I think Myles Turner obviously gives them more offense and defensive ability. So I think with that in mind, Myles Turner should have some pretty high trade value in the trade market, and I think the Pacers should definitely capitalize on that, and they should move Isaiah Jackson to the starting 5, a little bit under 2 blocks per game. So I think he could be a mini Myles Turner in a sense where he can play some good defense and stretch the floor, because this season alone, I mean, he shot 31% from 3, which isn't all too bad either in his rookie season. Adding in the 1.4 blocks, I mean, he's been pretty amazing. So I think they moved Isaiah Jackson to the 5. Maybe bring back Jalen Smith in the offseason because he is going to be a free agent. So hopefully they can bring him back. And I think this team could be pretty set. Now, with that in mind, whoever they get from Myles Turner and what they get I hope they get a forward. I think this team is definitely going to be in need of some small forwards and power forwards, as TJ Warren, he's going to be a free agent, and off the bench there aren't too many forwards, so they should be looking to get a small forward or any forward at that, a combo forward in exchange for Myles Turner, or even in the offseason. I think they should be pretty much set. Halliburton and whoever they get, hopefully they get the top 5 pick. The Pacers, if they do land within the top 5, that's going to really help the rebuild. But overall, Myles Turner, I don't really think he should be on this team moving forward. Now, he is only 26 years old, so he is in his mid-20s. But nonetheless, he should have some pretty high trade value, and the Pacers should definitely capitalize on his trade value. And let me know what you guys think about Myles Turner. You guys want him gone, or do you want him to stay? So that's the video. My name is Pacers Empire, and I'm out. Peace.